You're listening to the Did You Hear Show.
Yo, morning, folks.
With your host, Jason Garvey.
Yo, what's happening, folks? Welcome to another episode of the Did You Hear Show. Jay, how's things?
Not too bad, bud. Another weekend. How are you?
Not too bad. You're looking fresh.
Doing my best.
Are you cold, eh?
Yeah. Me fisherman's body warmer, so.
Fair play to your sister letting you wear it.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
I've now come back for it. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Top of the head.
You have no answer on that one.
No. On the decks, we have Mr. Martin Murray himself. Martin, how are you?
I'm all good, lads. How are we?
Not too bad,
We all
yourself?
good? I'm good. I'm happy today. Feeling good.
Happy today, good man. Right,
Happy,
we're not going to waste any time today, as usual, folks. So today's guest is a local hero, winning Charity Hero of the Year, raising over 350,000 for Pieta House, appearing on shows such as The Secret Millionaire and the most famous taxi man in the country. It's the one and only Mr. John Quinn. John, how are you, buddy?
After that introduction, I don't know what to say. You got me.
Well, let's start it off right first of all. Pull that mic closer to you, John, as close as you can, and nearly eat it when you're talking to it, yeah?
All right, no bother.
Super stuff. How's things? How are you, John?
Not bad.
You're looking well.
I feel quite good, yeah.
Is that the lack of finches, or what is that?
Be the lack of finches. Definitely the lack of finches.
The lack of this place, yeah?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Do we have an issue with it, do we? Okay, I'll have a look at that now in 2 seconds. Right, John, we're having a bit of technical difficulties with this main cam. I'm going to go and fix it now in 2 seconds.
Right off the bat.
Right off the bat, yeah. It's I should have kept an eye on it there. So, John, for those who don't know who you are, give us a little brief story about yourself and what you're about.
My name is John Quinn. Live in Clondalkin, and in 2005, my son took his life. And I decided then at his funeral to stand up and ask people to come to me if they had problems. And it kind of snowballed from there. Then I met John Freeman 3-4 months later, and Pieta House opened up in 2006. And I suppose I just became, I just say I'm a friend of Pieta's.
Right.
Nice way of putting it.
Yeah, and a very good friend at that, I'd say, John. So Pieta actually wasn't around when you were before your son's passing.
No.
Right.
Sean died in 2005.
And Pieta was 2007.
2006.
2006, sorry.
And I suppose from the time when Sean died up until Pieta opened, I was dealing, people were coming to me. I got up on the altar and I said at the altar, I said, like obviously it was a very young congregation there. And
how old was Sean, John?
17.
17 years of age, okay.
17. And I just got up and I said, look, there's no need for you to be putting your parents and friends through this. If you have a problem, come to me. Jesus, I didn't realise what was going to happen.
Yeah,
well, you were getting 7 or 8 phone calls a week.
And the other side of that is how many people needed help that weren't able to get it at the time.
I honestly, Martin, couldn't put a figure on it. There was. I was dealing with 5, 6, 7 people weekly.
And then, like, we're 17 years in since then.
Yeah.
And it's still, like, people still always know you for that person to go to in the community to seek that help.
2 phone calls this week.
2 phone calls this week.
Slow down, thankfully. But the schools, I'd have to say the schools in our area are absolutely super. Because if they see a child has a problem, they'll get in touch with the parents or a guardian and say, we think the child needs to go somewhere for counselling.
Yeah.
So, and like, obviously, I know up in St. Kevin's, they, at the beginning, you could nearly walk into Pieta House at the beginning. Now it's so busy, you can't.
Yeah.
And the teachers would have brought, if the parents didn't have a car, the teachers or me would have brought them down.
Right.
How did you, John, become an associate of Pieta House, let's say, or a friend of Pieta House?
God, 3 months after Sean died, my sister asked me did I want to go to a play in the Helix, and it was 3 20-minute monologues, and there were 3 different stories of suicide, and there was questions and answers after it, and there was 3 girls behind us in school uniform, and of course my sister and Rainey kept saying, "You're not going to ask any questions." And I goes, "I've nothing to ask." So the girls, one of the girls asked a question as to why was there alcohol. She felt it very wrong that there was alcohol in the 3 stories.
Right.
So they were talking, and I just, Jesus, I have to say something here. So I just put my hand up. I came up, turned to the girls. I said, there is alcohol involved in most suicides.
Yeah.
I said, my son died 3 months ago, 4 months ago, can't remember the exact. And he had 2 bottles of Budweiser in him. Now, he had 5, but he brought, the night he died, he had went over to the off licence, got 10 bottles, 5 for him and 5 for one of the lads, brought them all into the house, raided the fridge, drank 2 bottles and gave away 3.
Right.
So I started telling the girls this story, and they just bawled their eyes out. So I had packets of tissues with me, so I'm handing out the tissues to the girls, and John Freeman was on the chair that was sitting there that night, and she just said, "I think we could pull this to a close now."
Right.
And I was doing a talk in Collinstown the following week, and it was the first talk I'd ever done. Sean Daly, who's a neighbour of Martin's,
That's right, yeah.
asked me would I do a talk to the 5th years,
Right.
and I think it was 5th years, and I asked Joan about it, and we just became friends. She gave me her phone number, her house number, and I read it out to her, and she, Jesus, where did you get this from? I says, I wrote it myself. And she says, that's perfect coming into any school. So we just hit up a friendship from there.
Brilliant.
And she told me she was opening up a place called Pieta House. And I said, well, if you need that, just give me a shout.
And that's where
And
the
she
relationship began, yeah.
What's anything? And I said, anything.
So, John, tell me, obviously, when it was Sean's funeral, you had your speech and you said, anyone struggling, come to me.
Yeah.
Was, in a way, that your way of mourning his death? Like, did you helping others feel like you were doing a service for your son?
I kind of left, I felt, if I was helping other people through him, this might sound absolutely crazy, but he hadn't died in vain.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, Jesus, I'd give me right arm if he was here now. But it wasn't a waste. People were going to know, not Sean, but they were going to know that there was a way, other than taking your life, there was another way out of it, and that's to go and talk to somebody. But back then, there was nowhere to, like, if you were a teenager and you were trying to get into teen counselling, there was 13-week waiting list.
Yeah.
Like 13 weeks.
3 months.
That's a hell of an amount of days gone by.
100%.
To be feeling suicidal. And
one extra day is too much, John.
well, yeah, 1 day is too much. So I just got up on the altar, and they all insisted in the house that I write down what I wanted to say. And I said, I don't need to write down. I know what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
But they insisted. They said, you'll get up there and you'll just get... They were afraid I was going to get blank.
Yeah, you'll mumble or
I wrote it all out.
Which, let's face it, could easily happen with the circumstances.
Oh, gee, look, yeah, it's... this, again, sounds crazy. But if somebody asks me to talk about suicide, I'll talk all day. because I know I have a fair idea on what I'm talking about.
Of course you do. Of course you do.
And I suppose I wrote it out. I don't know how many times I had to write it out because the ink was all blurry because I was crying my eyes out.
Tears,
Tears were just dropping onto it. And I brought it up onto the altar with me, and I looked at the first 2 or 3 lines and then just left it there and spoke away. To the extent, I suppose, that Rainey and Vincent, my eldest fella, had to tell me they're pointing at their watches.
Yeah.
Get off the altar, will you?
Yeah.
We've listened to enough of you.
Yeah.
But, like, I just felt that why should other families be going through the horrific pain that we were going through? If somebody could just sit down and listen to fellas, girls, whatever. Just sit and listen.
But that says a lot about you, John. Like, if you're, like, first thing that comes to your head is that no other family should go through this. Like, you should have been mourning yourself when you were already automatically helping other people and trying to help other people. And I'm assuming that's because of how much pain you went through. And, like, obviously, when you understand how much pain someone is going through, you definitely don't want that to happen to anyone else. And that's obviously what you are trying to prevent from happening.
Yeah.
And that's why you were so...
Like, yeah, my first person to help was one of Sean's friends, where I got a phone call from a counsellor asking me, did I know such and such? And I did genuinely, geez, Neve, if you're listening, how are you? I genuinely couldn't remember. And then Olivia just says to me, that's Vincent's missus. Sean used to go out with her. So I went through Sean's phone and I was going ringing her on Sean's phone. And I goes, Christ, I better not do this. So I rang her on mine. But I was that close to just ringing her on Sean's phone.
Yeah, geez, imagine.
Oh, but I didn't know what had happened.
Yeah.
I knew she was just missing.
Yeah.
So I rang her and she told me where she was, and I said, do me a favour, will you? Ring your mum and dad. I've no credit. I said, somebody has a $5. Go down and get a $5's worth of credit and put it into your phone.
Yeah.
And blah, blah. And I spoke with her for a while. And I hung up, and about 5 minutes later I said, Jesus, no, hold on. So I rang her back again and I says, give me your ma's number. And her ma and dad had the maddest voicemail on their landline I've ever heard in my life.
Right.
It was funny.
Yeah.
But it, in the circumstances of what we were going through, it was far from funny. But I look at it now and like, jeez, it was mad. Yeah. And I rang the mother and told her, but it wasn't till she came to Sean's funeral the next day. That was the day Sean went to the church, so he was being buried the next day. So I had told the father I wanted to talk to her. So I just told everybody to move away from me, give me about 20 or 30 feet at the back of the graveyard. Spoke with her, and then I walked her over. I said, now stand. I wouldn't allow them put any soil or anything in on top of the grave. I says, look in there, you. Look in there. How do you know you'll see Sean when you go in there? I said, you don't. And she's now 2 kids. Yeah. So that's just... That's brilliant.
Must be a great feeling, John, when the story turns around so thoroughly. The whole 180 degrees is going in the opposite direction.
You know, I look at that girl now, and you know, I haven't seen her in a long time. But you know, the odd message on Facebook or something like that.
You don't forget things like that, John. Though you don't, like, especially I'm assuming she was extremely grateful and thankful for your words and your advice to her. Like, so
she got a clatter in the back of the head at me when she was standing at the grave. So yeah, but she was grateful of the
Well, of course. This is what I'm saying. Like, people don't forget that. That lives with people forever. And I know that through experience myself, you know. Like, it doesn't go away. You remember moments like that when you are struggling and you think you've known, and then some stranger that drives a taxi has a conversation with you and you're like, fuck me, like, that's after completely down a 360 on me. So, John, I suppose, like, what what advice would you have for other parents out there that went through what you went through? Because let's face it, not everyone goes the route you went and start helping everyone and start dig out to Pieta House, doing speeches and stuff like that. Some people just aren't built to do that. Do you know what I mean?
I suppose everybody is different, as you just said. For people, other parents that are going through this, if they're really struggling, if they're struggling to come to terms with it, they need help themselves. And Pieta do bereavement for parents of suicidal parents.
Right.
And people often say to me, "What do you say to somebody when you walk up to them?" And I says, "What do we? If you meet somebody, what do you say to them?"
Yeah, why do you have to change it? Yeah.
How you? How you? What? And they're looking, yeah, but you know they're shit. Because you're not asking them, are they shit? You're just saying how you.
Giving them a sense of normality.
And it's opening up the conversation. And then you can go on and just say, are you struggling? And I suppose it works from there. But for not just parents, for grandparents, like they used to say one suicide has a ripple effect of about 50. I think that's the greatest load of shite ever. Particularly if it's a young person, you're looking at the ripple effect of 150 to 200 people because of the schools.
Right.
And they have to talk.
Do you think the schools are doing enough, John? I know you said...
Our two schools are.
Right.
The two schools I'm talking about now would be
Clondalkin
and Kevin's. Definitely. Because I know it.
Yeah.
Particularly Suzanne Graham and Kevin's would have been involved with she's involved with the Darkness into Light Walk. And she would have been the chaplain. Now she took a couple of years break, and she's back now again. And I know for a fact Kevin's would be on top of it.
Now you're at the mention Kevin's and Constown there.
Yeah.
Like, how young should we start educating people on mental health? Like, should it not be like St. Mary's and St. Is it Bridget's, is it?
They say not to talk. First years. Start at second year.
Right.
But I'd be starting at fourth year. Because you go into most fourth years in any school, do you all know what suicide is? You're not going in, and people are afraid, Jesus, if I mention suicide, will I put it into their mind?
Yeah. That's a fair point.
They already know what it is. But if I think someone's suicidal, I don't beat about the bush. I'll ask them straight out, are you suicidal? Have you suicidal thoughts? And if they say yes, when's the last time you had them thoughts? And sometimes it could be 3-4 days. I mightn't have had them for a week. And some people say, I had them today, yesterday, and day before, and day before, and day before.
Every day.
And then when they tell me every day I'm on the ball, I just straight away I ring Pieta House. I need somebody. I need a cancellation. I need somebody in there that's really, really in a bad place.
Now, look, this probably isn't the right thing to say, John,
Well,
but
then say it.
would you have like a back door into Pieta House where you would get, do you know what I mean? As in someone seeing the faster if they came to yourself. Yeah, because of all the work you do.
They would take me word on it that if somebody's really, really bad.
Yeah, because obviously you've dealt with so many people that you would analyse the situation well enough for them to trust your opinion, basically.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah, they would.
Yeah,
And like some people, and I would 5 minutes into a conversation, I'd say to somebody, "When's the last time you had suicidal thoughts?"
Yeah.
And if they say they're having them every day, I will then ring Pieta and say, "Can you get somebody in on an emergency?" Now there is the National Suicide Helpline is run by Pieta House now. 1850 247 247. You can ring, and a counsellor will ring you back on that.
Right.
So you do have someone to talk to.
Is that 24/7, John?
24/7, 365.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Jay.
Have you ever considered doing counselling courses or getting certificates or anything, considering, because you've helped so many people, yet, you know, like, sometimes it almost takes, when I say business or whatever, like, it doesn't matter how you help people as long as people are being helped, but sometimes it's an alternative to going to counselling, because that's sometimes that can be very taboo, can't it? It can be judged.
You are right, because after Sean died, I did think about going to college.
Yeah.
For about a year. And then Pieta asked me, both Joan and Cathy asked me, Cindy rather, would I go to college? And I just said, no. If something's not broke, don't fix it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. At that stage, I was helping so many people.
Yeah.
I said, firstly and foremostly, you go to college, you're not allowed to go directly in working with suicide. You know, you have to build it up, and you have to do your hours on that. I says, I'm not responsible to anybody. I just do this on my own bat. And if I had letters after my name, I'd have to charge people.
Mm-hmm.
See, John, I think it's perfect for you to do what you're doing the way you're doing it, because let's face it, a lot of times when we're in taxis are hard moments for us. We could be leaving an ex-girlfriend's house. We could be, after the night out feeling shy. Like, we definitely need more taxi men like yourself, because I'd say, like, how many people would you honestly reckon you've helped just from your taxi alone?
Couldn't even put a figure on it.
But this is what I'm saying. Like, it's all well and good. It's all well and good you being in Pieta house.
I've actually sat with people and done sessions in me taxi.
Yeah, I'd believe
because they didn't want it done in their houses, and they didn't want to come to my house. So I'd say, yeah, I'll meet you. I'll meet you down the Neilstown Road or whatever. I'll pick you up and we'll drive off somewhere.
Yeah.
That's
making a fortune, yeah.
I don't even knock on.
I'll keep the meter running.
You want to go the M50 there? M50, is it?
Yeah. But, like, I couldn't. Sweet Jesus, I couldn't put. I'd say 2012, and we're 10 years on now. I'd say they reckoned in Pieta in 2012. I had hand and part in getting people into Pieta, and the figure was in around 4,000 people.
Jesus Christ, John.
That's like
That's insane. And that was a decade ago.
Yeah.
So from then, like, you saw me texting a woman earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Jesus, she's in a great place now. She's absolutely mentally best place ever, and she was very close to taking her own life, setting the whole house on fire.
Right.
And she's a super woman, but she was in a very, very bad place, and she's no longer in that bad place, and she doesn't let me forget it. And all I do say is, will you stop thanking me? And she'd be very honest, it's just only for you. Now, she done an awful lot of sessions in Pieta. And, she's alive and well today. She's living the life. And,
amazing to see.
Yeah, and she, I suppose with her living that life, there's nobody standing over our heads now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that must be a great feeling for you, John. Seeing all these people that you have sent that, like you said, you would be a good analyzer of the situation. So you would know how close they are to doing something.
Yeah.
And for you to then see them, let's say, move abroad or have kids, get married, you know, that must be like, it must be almost like a proud father moment for you. Or like that's what I would take from something like that, you know.
You know, it's funny. It gives you great pleasure to see somebody. And you know, look, we were slagging earlier the local watering hole up in Neilstown.
Yeah.
But you know, I could be, you know, when Finches was absolutely flying, of a night there could be 4 or 5 people in that lounge that I would have helped.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it's funny, people to say, "Jeez, you must never buy a drink."
Yeah.
But I wouldn't even nod at them
Yeah. Yeah.
because I'd be afraid somebody had seen me nod. Now, people would know I know
Yeah.
them, I know the company,
Yeah.
but I'd never say anything
Yeah. Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
as to
You're unintentionally putting someone's business out there almost.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah, and you just can't.
Yeah.
Like it's very proud to see that someone, well, loads of people, but like I started off in the hopes of saving one person,
Yeah.
and Jesus, was I happy saving that one person? Like, I was delirious. I couldn't believe, Jesus, look what's.
Mm.
And now you just look and you go, wow.
Yeah.
You should take great pride in it, John. Fair play.
Absolutely.
Definitely, and like it obviously you are leaving a legacy behind for Sean, because who's to know if you would have got involved before that, John? Do you know what I mean? So it's in Sean's name that you're doing all this and you're saving all these lives. You know what I mean? So like it's amazing what you're doing. It's amazing how you can turn such a horrible situation. Like, my biggest fear in my life is losing one of my kids before me. I couldn't imagine it.
It's not right. And people have asked me to describe it. And you just, so you can't. It's impossible. You know, I just say it this, and when people have asked me, I say, it's like having a hunger pain. The worst hunger pain ever, because you have a pain in the pit of your stomach. And you eat. But the pain doesn't go away.
Yeah. And how did it affect your family, John? So obviously the brothers and your wife, like obviously you're the man of the house. You feel like it's your place. You need to hold everything together. But how can a man hold it together when something like that is after happening? Like I can't imagine how hard it was for you. Like, was it that you going out talking to people? Was that like your therapy for you? Like,
That was my therapy.
Yeah.
That was definitely my therapy.
Yeah.
Because I suppose at the beginning, everybody that knew me, they knew Sean.
Yeah.
And they knew why I was doing it.
Yeah.
Look, the house wasn't the same. Definitely, it was quieter, because Sean would be in out the door, and the door would slam, and he's halfway up the stairs.
3 timeouts in his hand.
Jesus Christ Almighty! But like, Sean was, like, he was really, in a way, he was like a mini me. He was always helping people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, borrowed a welder one day to fix someone's gates.
Never welded that in his
Probably
life.
turned on the meter as well, did he?
You know, and stuff like that. Like, I suppose, look, I remember getting a phone call from a woman, and Jesus, she was crazy. And she said to me, my brother-in-law's dead about 6 weeks. When does my sister come back to normal?
Oh, God.
And I'm fucking blabbing away to her, and I go, 6 weeks? And I goes, my missus was fucking doolally for 3.5 years. And she just wasn't right. And with that, she walked in the door, Rini walked in the door with Moira. She was a teacher over in St. Bernadette School, and I goes, Rini, how long were you a bit doolally after Sean died? And she looked at me and said, how would you fucking know? I says, I've already answered it. I'm just asking you. She about 3 years. Moira goes, a little bit longer. And I says, I've told this woman that's 3.5 years. And this woman couldn't understand How was her sister going to be like that for 3.5 years? She had that burying her bleeding husband.
Mm.
And in the end, I just said, you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You don't know. You don't understand what your sister's going through.
Yeah.
She's your sister. But you want to be there for her, and you're going to have to listen to her, and she's going to cry, and you're going to have to help her.
Mm.
And she couldn't understand how it could last for 3.5 years.
See, it's hard to understand if you've never been in the situation. Anyone, like you said, Sean, anyone can imagine. I can imagine, and even imagining one of my kids going before me breaks my heart. But that's still nowhere near the pain of actually going through it.
Experiencing it.
Do you know what I mean? So I like it sounds like anyone listening would probably call that girl an asshole. What's she doing? Like leave her sister.
Yeah.
But realistically, she just hasn't experienced it, so she doesn't know.
She just wanted her sister back.
Yeah.
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 And the other side of that is when you say it that way, that lady is thinking she's staring down the barrel of a 3.5 year experience, but it's a 1 day at a time thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you don't look at it and say, right, I have 3.5 years of this.
No.
You say, right, how do I deal with today?
Yeah.
And then after today, how do I deal with tomorrow?
Exactly.
And then you're just one foot in front of the other.
Well put, Martin. And like that, even you're saying 3.5 years, it's not, it's a lifetime. Do you know what I mean?
Well, it's still there.
Yeah,
Of course.
exactly.
Like, you know, we look at that horrendous murder on the canal,
Yeah.
and we're looking at the late on Saturday night. Now, I'll be honest, I had tears in my eyes looking at the late because it was a full tribute to Ashley Murphy.
Right. I didn't see it myself.
And Reenie is there, bawling her eyes out. And she says, I know what her parents are going through. And you're looking, and she does. You know, and it's just, you don't, like, I suppose, Vince and Olivia were to get married the year after Sean died. And they said to me the day of the funeral, Olivia said to me, we're cancelling the wedding. So we were down the Coalcut, so I walked around the pitch and puck horse. And I goes, so you're going to cancel it? She says, yeah. I said, so when you are going to have it, is Sean going to be there? She says, no. I said, well, that's why you're not cancelling it. Doesn't matter when
What's
you
the
have
purpose,
it.
yeah.
I said, but at the end of the day, we need something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
And I suppose them plan. Look, Vincent was his brother. He was in the throes of it. And it's funny, I know it affected him, but I've never actually sat down and said, I know what way. I didn't have to ask him. I know it did affect him.
Yeah.
Kieran stopped. Kieran was playing. Jeez, Kieran was playing League World. I can't remember.
Pats,
who.
Pats, wasn't
He was with Pats originally, but when Sean died, he was with Monaghan.
Right.
He stopped playing football. Just stopped.
Hit him hard, did it?
Yeah. And then he asked me what I want for my 50th birthday, and I said a size 8 pair of Preds.
he? He's slowly morphing into you, John.
Yeah, and he goes, Jesus, Dad, if you're going back training the kids, you don't need Preds on the sideline. I goes, Preds are not for me, they're for you, you cabbage. Go back playing football. When you hit 50, you'll regret it.
Yeah.
And he looked at me and he goes, I says, doesn't matter, go back to Leinster Senior, go back playing anything.
Yeah. He was some baller, to be fair.
He wasn't bad. Goodness, moany old fucker if you're listening to it.
100%. I played with him for a few weeks. He's a moany fucker.
He doesn't stop. What's his son's name again? Rory, yeah. I managed Rory with Cherry Orchard.
Yeah.
And I heard his dad on the sideline a few times as well. But how was actually Rory getting on?
He's in Esker. He's under Colin Nataro.
Oi.
Would you ever get back into the coaching yourself, John?
Yeah, you done a bit of coaching yourself, didn't you?
Not a chance.
No, it was a lifetime ago.
No, I done Greenford for 17 years.
You had Mikey, didn't you? You were the one above me.
Yeah. No, I had Mikey for a bit. He guessed it for me.
Yeah.
Now my first original team, they disbanded when we came back from America. Well, they disbanded before we went to America, but they still got their trip to America. And then I took over the next team. Done it for 17 years all told, so no. Would I do it again? Not a chance.
It's a lot of work, isn't it? People don't understand what goes into it, like.
But like, I suppose I was the treasurer. Reenie was the secretary. And our phone was the club phone.
Right.
So you were getting knocks on the door.
Constant,
It never stopped.
Yeah.
And Rini went the year before me. I didn't even tell her I was packing it in. I just went over one Tuesday night and I says, I'm finished.
What year was that? Do you remember?
Don't know, I have the trophy still up in the house that I didn't give out that year. Davy Cullen, I think your name was on one of them.
He's another very good footballer.
He
Davy.
Yeah, he wasn't bad. Jeez, I don't know what year it was, but 17 years, I just had enough of it. I was just...
That on top of everything else.
And then I got involved in the horse project as well.
Yeah. We'll actually touch on that now in a second, John. So on the obviously speaking to everyone, doing all the talks, getting involved in football and stuff like that, did you ever feel like, or did your kids ever feel like you were kind of involved in a lot and you didn't have enough time for them? Like, were they kind of, like, because you are a very busy man, do you know what I mean? Did they ever feel like you were taken away from them a little bit? Did they ever want that daddy to pull back a little bit?
You can ring in and tell me if I did. I don't think so.
Right, you don't think so?
No, I don't. Look, I suppose I suppose I was Kieran's manager originally.
Yeah.
He broke my fucking heart. He was the best player on the pitch. So, you know,
captain and all, got his game every week.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Fuck throw-ins, penalties, frees, corners, goal kicks.
Yeah, but he wasn't. He was scoring on average 40 goals a
All
season.
right, John, calm down.
Then I was lucky. I'd Anton
Serious numbers.
McCormick then as well, and
Yeah.
Gavin Kavanagh
Yeah.
and Jolly Rogers. You know,
Who was the earlier, what?
yeah. I
Did you create these stars, John? Did
I
you?
think that's what it is, isn't
yeah.
it?
Jose Quinn.
Yeah. So
Jose Quinn.
then there was we were running the bingo for the football club. Jesus, lost our arses on that. But a couple of the lads came over one Wednesday night and says, John, will you look at them books? Or will you get involved with the boxing? And I goes, no, go out and get me the books and I'll have a look at them. So they brought me back a copy. I says, but they're not books. It's only bits of paper. So I got involved then with the boxing. So I was doing the football and the boxing, and I brought the two people up in front of the IABA. It took us 9 months to get them fucked out. And I had said all along, once they were gone, I was stepping away.
Right.
And once they were gone, Greg Ormond and the boys came in and took over and set up Quarryvale Boxing Club then again.
Mm.
And I stepped away then. So Vincent was boxing at that stage. And I suppose, no, I don't think I neglected them.
No, I wouldn't say that.
I don't mean
Neglect would be a strong
Yeah.
word.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't, but could I have given them more time?
It's not even that, John. I
don't
just
know.
feel like obviously, like, your therapy was helping everyone else. I was just wondering, like, did it take away from them? You know,
I don't think so.
That was a question, to be fair, that you, like, when you were saying it, I had it in my head earlier on as well, because of the fact that, like, you know, your personal life, your taxiing as well, like, and then outside of that, there has to be a shut off.
Yeah.
You know, there has to be that point where you just got home, grab yourself a cup of tea and put the feet up. You know what I mean? But whereas there's so many people that rely on you and depend on you, that did it, like Jay said, did it take away from your personal life? Or was it worthwhile?
Look, I suppose at times, Rini would say to me at times, when you know, I'd be having a pint in Finches and I'd end up talking to somebody
Out in the smoking area
for a half an hour.
Yeah.
Because I'd be going, you can't really be talking in a pub. This is not right, like.
Yeah.
But you know, and it wasn't right. But they just wanted information.
Yeah.
So, and then when you give them the information, you're walking away. Oh, come here, like that. You know, but
Sorry,
I
John,
don't
do you
know.
think that was always looked at as, if someone's in the pub having a drink and then they're talking to you, it's seen as that's the person that has the problem? Look, they're speaking with John, sure. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I was always afraid of that.
I don't know. I spoke to you in the pub for the last decade, John, and it never
yeah,
even
but you
crossed my
played-
mind till they said it.
Yeah, but
you played ball.
Yeah.
But not only
And
that.
you grew up in you grew up playing for Greenford, so
Yeah.
like really and truly, you're a past player.
Yeah.
But if you hadn't been involved in the club, and you're talking to me for a half an hour, why are you
would've
talking
said-
to me?
Yeah. And they never even crossed my mind.
Exactly.
They never even put it together.
Like, you wouldn't think that because you know there's nothing.
Yeah.
But me and Jay don't know there's nothing wrong with you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So that's a very good question,
Yeah.
Jay. And you probably did have that picture painted of you all the time without even knowing,
Yeah,
you know?
and you know, because if somebody really wanted to talk to me, I'd walk away from where I was standing.
Yeah.
I'd walk into a corner.
Yeah.
And I'm
So
going,
if John's in a corner, that's when you judge to be.
and I'd be saying to him, you know, there's people here looking,
Yeah.
and they just, John, I just need to talk to you.
Yeah. And as well as that, drink would obviously bring out confidence in people as well.
That's courage.
Yeah. And sometimes it could even, like, I would nearly feel at times, John, you've probably been taken advantage of a few times in Finches over people just being drunk and talking absolute pony, to be honest with you. Do you know what I mean?
I talk enough pony myself. When I have a few beers on me myself, I talk pony.
There's not a lot else talked about in Finches. Pony.
It kind of works both ways.
John, you have obviously gone through the most traumatic experience a parent could go through. There's no doubt that you've obviously hurt in the past over it. You still hurt to this day, but yet you've somehow always remained upbeat and positive. And it almost seems like that was the case from the very start. Like at the funeral, you stood up and you told people,
Yeah.
come speak to me. You explained the story there a minute ago about the wedding. Like, why is Sean going to be at the wedding? So why we cancelling it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You've always seemed to have that clear perspective from the start. How do you think you've managed to have that very early on after losing a child?
I can, Jesus, I don't know, but I can kind of put it this way: if you worry, you die, and if you don't worry, you're going to die anyway. So try not worry.
Put asterisks, is it, beside that?
That's a nail on the head, isn't it?
John Quinn, 2022.
That was my old man's saying,
Yeah. Well, look, you can either.
and I suppose, Jesus, Jay,
It's just it's admirable. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I-
because I personally don't think I'd have the strength inside me to be that way.
I hope
You know what I mean?
You see, you won't know till something happens.
Yeah.
So I hope it never happens.
You know what I mean?
Mm.
Jesus, tip what?
That's probably not word at all.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. We'll use
Paper.
it. Here. Yeah, look, I don't know. I suppose. I don't know. I can't answer.
I don't
that.
mean to say.
There's only
No,
really-
I know you're not putting me in a spot.
Yeah.
I just can't answer it.
Yeah.
I suppose it is the fact that I just don't worry.
Yeah.
I
Well,
generally feel people that are a little bit older than us tend to have a stronger constitution. They're just
Yeah,
kind of
I
built a
agree
bit
with
tougher
that,
as
yeah.
well. Like, I think that the more and more it goes on, it kind of dilutes, and people
Yeah.
get a little bit softer and a little bit, like, the time's soft and it gets a little bit easier. Like, there's more money and things are a bit more affluent. And but like older people had real struggles. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? So they're a little bit tougher, built
Yeah.
a bit different. Do you know what I mean?
100% agree with that.
No offense to the
And
age.
John, you could have went two ways. That's the way
Yeah.
I look at that situation. Is you can either mope and stay in bed and be upset all the time, or you can go out and make a fucking huge change in the community and become the local hero. Do you know what I mean? You got rewarded for it. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Well, what was that like? That must have been probably the best achievement of your life other than your kids, was it?
What?
The award that you got for,
Oh,
2012.
yeah,
Charity Hero of the Year.
Yeah.
I suppose I was put forward for it in 2011, and they reckoned that I'd come fairly close to it. So then Pieta asked me, would I go forward again? And I goes, no, done it once, I'm not doing it again. And I was sitting down in the office, and they goes, think of the publicity we get out of this, John.
Pieta said that.
Yeah, and I'm
Right.
going, yeah, but it's fucking me that's going through it.
Mm.
So, yeah, I won Charity Hero of the Year in 2012, and yeah, it was an honour. It was better that Pieta House got €1,000. To be
Yeah.
honest with you,
Mm.
the award was a nice piece of crystal. I couldn't even tell you where it is. To be honest with you,
No, but it's great to get recognition,
It-
considering how much you put into it.
yeah. Look,
Actually, you're being recognised for all the good you're doing in the community. And John, we've got so many messages from when we put up that first post like people being in admiration of you. Well, we got a few of them as well. But now everyone's saying like he's helped me. And John, I don't know, you probably don't remember this, but I reached out to you at one stage. I don't know what it was about, but I remember speaking to you very early on in life, and it was after your son passed away, and we had a good, probably talking for 3 hours, John. I don't know, the second time was in Finches.
You'd have been skinnier then, wouldn't you?
A lot skinnier, yeah. Handsome bastard.
This is the fella who ate that fella.
Oh, stop. And Jay, you had a conversation with John as well, didn't you? Like, literally nearly everyone that I know that struggled, John, had a conversation with you. Do you know what I mean? So that's like, again, it's testament to that award and why you got it, and that people do genuinely recognise all the good that you are doing. And that was one of the main reasons I wanted you on the podcast, John, because I wanted to remind people the good that you've done in the past if they fucking forgot. There was a show that you went on, John. Well, you didn't go on. Well, actually, this is kind of controversial. I wanted to talk about this, The Secret Millionaire, yeah?
Top by the balls.
Top by the balls, right? So, that show, was that all put in place? Or
No.
Right. Did you pick him up from the airport?
No, Houston Station.
Houston Station. But he was already coming to Clondalkin.
Yeah.
See, that's where I was like, fuck that. That's set up. What's the chances of John, of all people, literally everyone in Clondalkin or around Houston Station, picking this guy who's already going to fucking Clondalkin?
The head's in the hands, Johnny. You're not telling us something.
No, honestly and truly, it was arranged for me to pick up a fella.
Right, yeah. But you didn't know.
No, I hadn't a fucking.
That's what I thought.
I was asked would I do a job.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Right, grand. There you all go, folks. That's it. We can shut up about that now. I'm only messing.
And then a couple of geezers come over and goes, "Can we put cameras into your car? Can we take the headrests out?" And I'm going, "The fuck."
At Houston Station, they could be selling your car. You know?
She's knock on your meter there now. I'm going, jeez, meters running and this, and they're taking out 30. I don't know how long they were in the car. And meters clicking away.
Right, happy days. You're rubbing your hands.
I'm fucking sitting outside Houston. And I goes, what's the beef here? He says, there's a fella coming up, and he's coming up to get involved in the area to do charity. He had a business.
Yeah.
He had a farm.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And he put the farm down as collateral for some ingenious idea he had. And it failed, and the banks took the farm up, and he's now doing charity work.
Mm.
So we're driving out, and sure, look, fuck, I'm sitting here talking to you, and I'm blabbing away, So I got talking to him.
Yeah.
And then they had me driving up and down Cunningham Road, go up, turn around, come back, and it's fucking great.
Just for shots, like, obviously.
Yeah, look at me, I was clocking away.
A lovely straight bit of road as well, Cunningham.
You know, I just bleeding quality, like.
Pick you up again tomorrow.
Yeah,
have any idea where the meter was at around?
They didn't give a shite. I was looking at what the meter was at.
John's texting under the sun. Really get dressed. We're going out when I'm home.
Get the red panties out.
So that was fine, and we're driving up, and we came to the Ark, and he goes, "Would there be many drug dealers around here?" And we'd been talking about Bernard Dunn all on the way up, and I says, "I know Bernard."
Mm.
He goes, "I'd love to meet him." I says, "If you want to meet him, I'll get you. I'll organise it." And he's going, "Are you serious?" I says, "Yeah, I know Bernard well."
Yeah.
I said, "We would have called him. We didn't call him Bernard back in the day when he played for Greenford."
Mm.
And then we get to Kevin's. He goes, "Well, there are many drug dealers around here," and I goes, "I'm not talking about that." So all I said, and don't put that in the programme. Whatever you're doing, don't put that in it.
Mm.
I says, "I'm not talking about." And then I remember my own man, Lord Tamerson, was from the country. And he used to always say, you know, the city is a very, very busy place. But it's so busy, it's lonely when you come to it. Because you know nobody. We're driving by Finches, and I says, "I'm going for a pint in there during the week. Do you fancy going for a pint?" Bingo. They started talking to me.
Mm.
And they asked me then, would I meet him and do bits and pieces with him?
Yeah.
And yes, if you've seen the show, like, he knocked on the door the day he was coming in with the check.
Yeah. Ah, no, well, look, that was all legit. Like, you can see, you can tell.
But I was going to say to him, Jesus, he wasn't from Dublin. Like, you in court? You're fucking all dressed up. You're going around like in a fucking old jacket all week.
Yeah.
And he handed me the 25 grand.
Now, as much as you didn't know anything about the donation, did you have, like, was there something telling you, like, there's something more to this? Or?
You know something, honest to Christ, lads, I looked at Secret Millionaire, I don't know how many times in the past on Channel 4.
Yeah.
And I used to look at that and I'd say, how can them fucking idiots not
know.
cop on that this fella's here?
Yeah.
And he's fucking playing with you, he's reeling you in.
Yeah.
And I was reeled in.
Yeah.
Genuinely, I was
No,
reeled.
I believe you.
Like, I had him up in the field.
100%.
I had him up with the horses, with Big J Fitzsimons.
Yeah.
And like, he'd fucking blabbing away to Jay about charity work as well.
Yeah.
And I just,
No, listen,
line and sinker, like, it just
Didn't ring any bells.
not at
it was
all,
a
no.
great watch, and obviously it was a lovely donation from himself. Did you stay in contact with him? Is he still floating about?
Regularly.
Fair play.
Yeah. He, when we brought the cheque down to Pieta House, John Freeman bawled their eyes out.
Right.
Because
Such a big lump, yeah.
well, that was going to pay the wages, and they had no money to pay the wages.
Right.
Back then, Pieta was very small.
Mm.
And he whispered in our ear, and he'd already said it to me, I'm going to set up a Pieta House. Because of what he's told me, I'm going to set up a Pieta House for the rest of Ireland.
Did he do it?
In the middle of June.
Brilliant.
Fabulous building.
The middle of June, as in.
No, the middle of June.
Oh, sorry. I thought you said June.
Sorry, lads. No, it's in the middle of June and Galway.
Galway, yeah.
And
Not from Galway,
No,
John. Do you know what I mean? I don't fucking.
We'll set that one out, Jay.
and
Galway,
yeah, they didn't do any geography.
It took him a while, didn't it? June
He's
last year.
about a year and a half. He had it set up inside. It opened up the whole lot inside a year and a half. Except
fair
really were
play.
brought down for the official opening. Again, caught by the balls. There was me, him, and John Freeman sitting up the front.
Right.
John gets up to do say a few words,
Yeah.
and he goes, Jesus, I haven't even a speech wrote out. And I goes, just go up and wing it. He says, I don't even have bullet points. I says, John, you're a businessman. You're used to talking to people.
Yeah.
Won't be a bother to you. And John Freeman stand there and says, and I'll finish up now and I'll just call up the main man. I hit him with my elbow. He says, up you go. John Quinn, come up and say a few words. I fucking nearly planked myself.
Garvey done that to
wing
us
it,
at the
John.
Christmas party, remember?
Yeah. Do you?
Oh, yeah, horrible.
Funny gargle.
All I wanted you to do was thank everyone for coming, and you didn't even do that.
I did that. You gave me a
did.
broken mic. We both did. And then Top Notch started rapping in it.
Yeah,
stop.
Martin Eastwood was the star of the show.
Come here, John. While we're on the topic of Pieta House, right? So we got a few messages the other way, right?
Yes.
As in the amount of money that they're on and stuff like this, right? So I wanted to get your opinion on it, right? And the first one is after kind of I'm leading into it because of what you mentioned about Sean the night of his death, right?
Yeah.
So we had 2 bottles of Budweiser. Now, tell me if I'm wrong, but Pieta House don't take people that have any alcohol issues or anything like that. Is that correct?
No, they don't take people that are addicted.
Right.
Because if you have an addiction, and people are probably going to, I don't mean to, I can only say this the way it is.
Yeah.
So those people that are in addiction, and those people that are listening that have family members in addiction, I don't want you to think I'm not being sympathetic towards them. I am. But if you have an addiction problem and you're suicidal, surely you have to deal with the addiction before you deal with the suicide.
I agree with that.
There's one woman, she's a woman now, and she went down to Pieta House and used my name. I had no problem with that.
Yeah.
But she sat in the toilet goofing for 45 minutes of the 60 minutes.
Right.
So for the 45 minutes that she's sitting in the toilet, locked in, and they couldn't get her out, surely she should have been going to somewhere to deal with her addiction.
Mm.
Because the suicidal thoughts. Now, I'm not a counsellor, folks, so
Yeah.
this can.
Yeah, no.
I'm not saying this to you.
Yeah,
you
no,
guys. I'm
100%.
saying this
Yeah.
to people listening.
Yeah. And look,
Surely you have to deal with the addiction. If you're addicted to coke, heroin, weed, or tablets, surely you have to deal with the addiction.
I would agree with that, John, until it's an emergency. Like, if it's emergency, I don't think
But
you
if
should
someone's out of their cap, you can't talk to them.
Yeah, and let's not say they're out of their cap. Let's say they are dealing with alcohol, and let's say they're coming down from it. And let's say something happens in their life that has nothing to do with alcohol, but they're still known as an alcoholic.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be turned away, in my opinion.
Well,
and I know, look, everyone, just to make things clear, John does not own Pieta House. John is just a part of the family.
Associate,
So,
yeah.
so, like, no one can judge John for anything that Pieta House are doing or whatever. So I'm literally just asking your
I have sat with addicts.
Yeah, right.
I have over the last number of years. And the first thing I would say to them is, do you need to go somewhere for your addiction? And we'll see what we can do. And the first place I would ring would be CASP for information.
Yeah. And that's fair enough. Like I said, what you're saying is very logical. It makes sense to me, like, because
now, I know Pieta are changing their status on addiction.
Right. Well, that's good. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Like I said, just in case of emergencies, if, like you said, you had a couple of emergencies yourself, John, where you're like, right, these need in now, and you've been looked after. So I don't think because someone, like,
if one of them was a drinker,
I don't think it is discrimination to a certain extent, in my opinion.
It is, but you know, like,
the other end
I still think if you're, you know, if drugs or alcohol has taken over your life, well, you have to deal with what has taken over. To me, to get healthy again, you have to deal with what has taken over your life, and then go on to lead a new life. Like, I have a friend, she doesn't live in this country, and I think she's about 11 months dry at the moment.
Right.
And I know she's listening in. And I only said to her the other day, how's the dryness going? And it's good.
Yeah.
But she had to deal with the dryness and get dry and then deal with her emotions.
And let's face it, a lot of the emotions stem from the drink or the drugs.
Of course it does.
Do you know what I mean? So I do completely understand the stance on it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that I agree with it. Do you know what I mean?
There
is like the Beacon of Light, John. I went there when I was struggling. And like, as far as I'm aware, they take anybody.
They'll take, the Beacon does. And they're great. I've sent lots of people to the Beacon as well.
Yeah.
And like that, you know, they're short of cash as well.
100%. I was speaking to you before the show, saying I give as much as I can.
Yeah.
My job helped me out with that.
Yeah.
I rang Jeff only last week, saying that actually this week that I wanted to do some work for him. He said he needs the place painted, so we're gonna try and donate a couple of hours.
Mural after what?
Yeah, I agree with that.
It.
Yeah, it was quality. Yeah. And it just stood what the building was for.
Oh, sure,
you know
everybody knew what it was.
Yeah.
You know, when you were trying to explain to people
where's
the Beacon of Light, you go around that road and you'll see a massive big mural on the side of the wall. What is it? It's blue.
Yeah.
You can't miss it.
It was basically a big lighthouse, wasn't it?
Yeah, fabulous.
Yeah,
absolute.
it was. Was the neighbours complaining about that, or what was the story there?
I never asked. I just saw it was gone.
Right.
And I'm going, Lord Jesus, they're after taking. Like, everybody knew what it was.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry for 2 seconds, John. Amelia, I'm just in the middle of a podcast, babe, okay? Night, and I love you, and I'll talk to you tomorrow, okay? No, I have to go, babe.
That's lovely.
She always does it. She's taking pictures of me now.
John, just on what you were saying there about the addiction, how deep do you think the correlation between alcohol and drug abuse is and people needing to avail of services such as Pieta?
Look, I think we all know the massive problem.
Epidemic.
Yeah. Of coke.
Yeah.
And smack. And it's not like years ago where you stood on the corners and you waited for someone to do their drop. It's all done by phone now.
On demand. We live in an on demand era.
You know,
Our Snapchat seems to be the way to go
Anything.
now, yeah.
you know, and look, it's not going to go away.
Mm.
It's not. I would genuinely say that we need more beds for people that want to go into treatment centres.
Yeah.
Agree with that.
It's meant to be very hard for addicts to get.
You can't get into a treatment centre at the moment.
Very hard.
Genuinely, you can't. Jesus, I had somebody going down to Coomera down. No, it was a Coomera. The one down.
Clondalkin.
It's down in
Cherry Orchard.
No, yeah, there's another one down on the Limerick-Kerry border, and he got down there, and he had weed in his system, but he took the weed at night to help him sleep
Why?
because he was an alcoholic,
Yeah.
and they wouldn't take him in. They said they'd have to put him over to the drug centre, but they knew he wasn't addicted to drugs. It was alcohol. But once he went into the drug centre, he just but that he had to go down without anything in the system.
Mm-hmm.
So he had to come home for 4 weeks.
Holy fuck.
So he's testing his urine every week. And I'm going, look, it's not going to, it won't be clean for. I went over and I spoke with them all in CASP. How long will it stay in the system? 4 to 6 weeks.
Fucking hell.
You know, they're saying, you know, he was saying, oh, jeez, if I drink loads of lemon, it washes it out. But
Apple cider vinegar and
yeah,
all. You
but
get
it
to
doesn't.
drinking, yeah. Yeah.
it doesn't. So 4 to 6 weeks. The end, he didn't go back down.
And this is exactly what I'm talking about, John. Like situations like that, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It has a big effect. But another question we got in then, obviously, and look, this isn't. Let me just say, first of all, Pieta do amazing work. They really do, all over the country. They are the biggest mental health charity in Ireland.
Charity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And do you know what? I'll just say this, that if one of you three were to present yourself, nearest hospital to here is Tala.
Yeah.
You present yourself to Tala Hospital. I'm suicidal. They let you out.
Yeah. I seen
And
your
they-
post on that.
And they
actually.
give you the phone number.
Mm.
Fuck me. The HSE is giving you the phone number of Pieta House to ring them.
Yeah.
So if you're suicidal and you tell them you're suicidal, why are they giving you the fucking phone number in the first place? They shouldn't be giving you the number.
Shouldn't be letting you out of the hospital.
Well, no. Well, look, we had somebody who died during the week who walked out of the hospital.
Yeah.
That, imagine the guilt. Like, that's insane. Like, you turned that guy away and he never made it home or whatever, you know, or that person.
I remember at the beginning, sure, about 2 years into me doing this, sitting in St. Mark's with a fella for about 8 hours. And they couldn't get a doctor to come out to him. And they had told him he needed a doctor, but yet if he went up to Tala Hospital, he'd have to sit in A&E for 8, 10, 12 hours, whatever.
Yeah.
His mother was after cutting him down from the attic the night before. And thankfully, Christ Almighty, thankfully, he was alive. And the doctor was saying he had a medical card, but because he hadn't seen a doctor in so long because he wasn't sick, the job I had, I was doing all the phone calls for the mother because she was a nervous wreck. She was gone. Oh no, sure, no. One of them dub docs or whatever, whoever you were ring doctor on charge. Yeah, but he hasn't seen a doctor in so long. His medical card is on. It's not on hold, but there's no. I go, you do realise what you're saying. Now they got somebody to come out to him 8 or 10 hours later.
Yeah. Which could be too late.
The bureaucracy around situations like that is
Yeah.
fucking maddening. Like, so what the form's not filled in or whatever, your job is to help people and you're being told he needs help.
Yeah.
Like, fucking help.
Like, look, I had Sean in Blanchardstown, and he was after me in Selbridge with all the lads, and Mark McCann had won a nice few bob on the horses, and he threw Sean 50 or 60 quid.
Mm.
And Sean decided to have a drink. He was sitting there all day drinking bottles of Coke. And he came home. It was Father's Day, 2006. About 2 months before he died. And we ended up in Blanchardstown Hospital in an ambulance because he was hyperventilating. He'd had a few beers.
Mm.
And the ambulance, they just brought him in, spoke to him, and spoke to the doctor. They actually let him back out into the waiting room on his own. Now, Blanchardstown Hospital it's dark old spot. And we went back in, and she says, Jesus, you're very lucky. There's a psychiatric doctor here. And I said, that's fucking great. Maybe we'll get somewhere.
Mm.
And doctor says, I think I'll send a letter to the Rutland Centre. I let the doctor go on. I goes, Doctor, you do know what the Rutland Centre's for, don't you? I says, it's for addiction. I said, I do. Since he tried to take his life, I take a urine sample off him every week. With the fear that, not that it's dirty, the fear that he's going to try and overdose again on tablets.
Mm.
And they're not. His urine's never dirty. He's anti-drugs. Oh, well, I'll send a letter to your own doctor. So that's what. 2006. We're still waiting on a letter. Now, they just released him. We came out. I felt sorry for a taxi driver. Got into a taxi in Blanchardstown. And that taxi driver's in the finest of form, and he goes, Jesus, you are offside tonight, lads. And Sean's sitting in the back, and he goes, yeah, I tried to kill myself. I wanted to kill myself tonight. The fucking taxi driver nearly died.
Mm.
And he looked at me and said, he's telling the truth. We got him home, and Reenie's sister was up from down, I think it was only Judy was up from down the country, and Sean walks in and goes, anybody fancy a fry? 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. He was fine then. It had just passed him. But he should have been kept in
100%.
somewhere, because the first time he tried it, he took 147 tablets. Household tablets, by the way, everybody.
Yeah.
And if you're wondering what 147 tablets was doing in my house, if you all look in your presses, you'll see the same amount.
Mm.
We all stockpile the stuff. You buy a box of paracetamol, use 3 of them, they're up there. And then
Which is the worst tablet in the world. It's great headache tablet, but if you take more than the dosage, it affects your liver.
So, John, do you think that if Pieta was around before Sean, that he could have been saved?
I've said it. I honest God, Jay, I don't know how many times I've said this. If Pieta House had opened up a year earlier, I think Sean would be alive. That's how good it is.
Mm.
Their job is to save lives.
do you find that bittersweet, John, at all?
No, it's just
Take pride in what you can do going forward.
what can you do? You know, look, you could. Fuck, I wish I was there. You know, I genuinely, and I've said this in, I don't know how many, in programs, in other interviews.
Yeah.
I genuinely think if Pieta had have opened up a year earlier. But look,
Yeah.
Is there any people in Pieta who've gone through the same experience as yourself, like members of staff who work there, who relate to you or understand where you're coming from as well, like, or
they all understand it.
yeah, well, I suppose we
They-
can
they
understand.
do
it, but
understand it.
Can they like?
Are they in the same boat as me?
Yeah.
I've never asked them.
Oh no, and that's their own business.
Yeah, I would
Fair
never
enough. I'm just
ask.
Curious if you knew or whatever. You know what I mean? Because sometimes, like, I would just imagine. And
You see, I wouldn't go out with them. I wouldn't go for a drink with anybody.
Oh, no,
in
I
Pieta.
wouldn't suggest that, no.
No, but they're not friends.
Yeah. Okay.
You literally just send people down and stuff. Another question we got, John, was regarding the pay that some of the senior people are on. What's
What's my view on it?
Yeah.
If you want monkeys, you pay peanuts.
Right.
If you were to Google the CEOs in this country of all the charities and their wages, you'll find that they're not very far off the wages of Pieta.
Is that not a question of two wrongs and a right, though?
I'm not going to say that. I'm not. What I'm saying is, most of the CEOs seem to earn that sort of money. Is it too much? Fuck yeah. But what do the CEOs do? I don't really know.
Yeah,
I don't know what.
And just on that
do.
point, Jay, just on that point, as you said, like the CEO of Pieta House earns X amount, and you've heard of the work they do, and then you hear of what the HSE does and turns people away, and people who are going in there and saying, "Look, I'm suicidal, I'm being sent away that night." Their CEO's on nearly $500,000 a year.
Yeah,
He got an army driver and made expenses then about his card as well.
Yeah.
It was just in the paper the other day. So the government ones are fucking you over harder, buddy.
I know. Look, I know. Look, I am not.
I know it's not you, Jay.
Yeah, look,
but you know, obviously, people are texting into you and have texted in since you said you were going to interview me.
Yeah,
I can't really. I would just say, and I'm fairly straight in what I say about it.
yeah,
If you want good people at the top of your firm, you pay them.
yeah.
Now, you can pay other people less, but they
Will they
might
do a
not
good
be
enough
as
job?
good a job.
No, I understand that, and John, I'll be honest with you. I was one of the people to question this myself.
yeah.
This isn't just from
It's a
people.
massive amount of money.
Exactly, and it's not only that. It's like obviously they get so many donations throughout all the what's the run they do again? Sorry,
Darkness into light.
Darkness into Light and stuff like that. They obviously get donations throughout the whole year off other people. So I think it's right to be questioned. You know,
you are right.
and like that again. John, I kind of feel sorry for even asking you these questions
There's
to
no
a certain
problem.
extent, because you're not like, he does not work for
don't get
PA
paid
House
from
or
PA.
anything like
No,
that.
I've-
But people are just interested in your opinion because you're
Well, because I suppose because I've been involved
exactly.
on the outskirts of Pieta since it opened. Look,
Yes.
loads of people have said to me, "Geez," including one of my own sons, you know, they're earning far too much money.
Yeah. And he's right. Look, I personally think he's right, John, because what you're saying, right? Let me just get my point across here, because what you're saying is if you want good people, you pay good money, whereas I completely think that's bollocks. I think good people work for fucking nothing.
Oh, I disagree
you
on that
can't
one.
do that. I'll tell you what.
No, sorry, I don't mean nothing. I mean, like, money isn't
Yeah,
the...
but think about it this way. You
You're
have a
saying
good
money
job.
shouldn't be the objective.
Yes.
You have a good job, Jay, but if someone offers to double your money and do the same job elsewhere, you'll go. It's this problem footballers put forward all the time. Like,
100%, but it depends on the cause, Martin.
and here's the thing as well, just for clarity on that, I just googled it. The CEO for Pieta after tax gets about 120. He earns about a quarter of what the CEO for the HSE does.
Yeah, and that's like, it's a different...
That's scandalous.
But that's a charity and that's a government. I don't think you compare them two. I don't mean they
think
should
it's a
be
great
getting
comparison.
nothing.
Look,
What
I
I'm
honestly,
saying is...
I get your point, and
Yeah.
I know you're not coming down.
100%.
I know. Look, I know, and you've said it. Like,
Yeah.
they're doing the job.
100%.
Unfortunately, I suppose, and we can say this about Ireland,
Yeah.
and I'm going to put my hand out here and probably get chopped off now.
Oh,
alone.
Yeah, I don't put it with you.
I'm dying for
We do
this,
it
John. Go on.
together.
There,
We
look,
do it together.
Look, lads, it's out here. With the likes of, we're living in Ireland,
Yeah.
and our bankers, our government ministers, our other CEOs and other highfalutin fuckers in the civil service are earning far too much money. And I would
100%.
say,
Mm.
you know, unfortunately, you know, they're driven by money, and not always by money, but at the same time, if you're working with Bank of Ireland and we'll just say another bank wants you to do the same job and they're going to give you more money than what you're earning, you will go to that
100%.
other job. But unfortunately, the massive high wages that some people are earning across the higher spectrum, they all seem to be on that same kind of bracket. And how do you bring it down? look, like Jesus, why would we be paying ex-Taoiseachs
What's the word?
a pension that
Yeah.
most people would never earn in a
Yeah.
fucking year?
I know.
And this is only their pension,
Yeah.
and them would be some of the Taoiseachs that robbed this country.
No, we agree.
And
You
it
know,
just
and that lives in Drumcondra and never had a bank account.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
to
know.
expand on that point, I've had this thought in my head now for a while. I just think that any organisation in Ireland, you mentioned banks, governments and stuff, when you get to a certain level, it starts spreading horizontal and the corruption ekes into everything. And I say that about the guards, about the FAI, the army. You've seen the corruption thing about them and women soldiers there not too long ago. Like, that level of corruption just goes horizontal. And it stems from centrally the government getting involved in things. Like the FAI went tits up because of John Delaney.
Look at John Delaney.
Yeah.
But it's every organisation, like a private company I work for, I'd say they're up there rubbing shoulders with them as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's all the same.
Where I was going with it, lads, so I just want to make sure that I come across clear here, because, look, I wasn't insinuating they shouldn't be getting nothing. What I was insinuating was money shouldn't be the driven factor. If you're the Dr. Martin, right, and you could get another 80 grand if you move to America, but if you stay here, you can help an extra 80,000 people. Like, if you're a good person, you stay here to help more people. That's where I was coming from. Now, again, John, you made a very good point, right, that you don't know what work the CEO does. So shame on me, I don't either. So maybe they are entitled to that money.
But like, I obviously the CEO is over all.
Yeah.
Like she's
Sits over the board and makes
she's
decisions.
sitting over the board, and she's sitting over all. She's obviously the boss of all the staff that works for Pieta.
Creme de la
and-
creme.
Yeah, and you know, I like she's the CEO. She's running the place.
Yeah. Some people could say she should be getting more money. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
For the
Look,
work that they
she,
are doing.
She is earning. It's a fairly colossal.
Yeah.
She'd be on about the same wage as a TD.
Yeah.
Just to throw that out there.
Yeah.
But look, we had to, John, because
Just lob that one out there for you, John. We let that one stick.
we had to ask you because so many people were
yeah, and
asking
look,
us.
I will.
And I was curious
Yeah.
myself, to be honest.
You know, unfortunately, it kind of went around that, you know, the CEO is earning X, Y, and Z, and I suppose the CEO she is earning a massive big wage, and other people in Pieta are earning wages as well, and then you have staff, councillors, all others, you know, staff earning money. It's funny, I was never offered a job in Pieta.
Is this the call out now, John?
No, definitely not. And I suppose if you look at it that way,
Yeah.
you've got to. People have bills to pay, and I suppose when you're used to living a very good lifestyle, you're not going to drop down.
Caviar and cheap.
Caviar.
Just to balance off with a nice comment about Pieta, we have had a comment in from a lady named Danielle who said, Pieta has saved me 3 times in my life. I swear I've never spoke to anyone else like their therapists. So fair play
And
to
in
Danielle.
fairness, that's one comment live. I have got loads of comments about Pieta House complimenting them as well. This isn't a dig at Pieta House. This is literally just us questioning. What people are thinking. Like, the show is literally to give you the answers that you're looking for.
Yeah, and look, I would love to be able to give that full answer, but I will still say, if you want monkeys, you pay peanuts.
And that's fair
And,
enough.
You know, it's obviously the CEO is earning a big chunk of money, but the organisation is running.
Yeah.
It's doing basically, I would say, and I have said, it's doing the work of the HSE, because the HSE do.
Well,
when it comes to
if
mental
you're going
health,
to the hospital.
yeah, when it comes to, I'm not going to say broad spectrum, the HSE,
Yeah, of course.
but, you know.
I would. It's a disaster.
No,
for
but you
people.
said it. You said it yourself, John.
We will say the ordinary people that's working in the offices.
Yeah.
They're fucking hard workers.
Of course, yeah.
And including me sister.
Me man and me sister, yeah.
But you know, you look at the ones at the top, they're earning serious money.
Paul Reid's on nearly $500,000.
Yeah, and you know, you can say what you like, but when you're used to living a good lifestyle and you're after being a CEO of another big company, and
I agree with you. Yeah.
you're not going to drop down in wages.
Like as
No,
you said,
why would you?
it's that horizontal thing that you're saying, John.
You're
It's,
not. No.
it's basing the wage off other people. As I said, a TD in this country earns about 100 grand. Leo was on the debate that time. Remember the leaders debate?
Yeah.
And he said the national average is 45 grand. So tell me why them tits earn over twice the time like the national average. You know what I mean? When this sport to represent us. But that's what John's saying. That ekes into every other part of society. Then
It's,
yeah.
Look at John Delaney. You said the FAI, and
All
I
the money
suppose we could
Some
sit,
corruption there.
we could sit here and talk about Delaney till tomorrow morning.
yeah.
The horrible bastard.
Yeah.
Now or never.
Do you read champagne football?
Do you know what? I have it sitting up in the house.
I have it at home as well. I haven't read it.
And just reading about Delaney, I know me blood will boil because, you know,
But John, that's every CEO
Dublin
of every
Bus-
big organisation.
Dublin Bus invited me down to their anniversary about 4 years ago. I think they were 30 years, 25 or 30 years, and they were presenting me with a cheque for Pieta House, and
brilliant.
Delaney was there, and like Jesus Christ Almighty, he thought he was well, he was somebody,
Yeah.
He was somebody that was on the bleeding make, but you know, he was just full of shite like.
Opened the car door and the brown envelopes fell out.
Yeah.
None of them fell in my pocket, unfortunately. I'd have taken them.
It would have been nice to
100%.
give him a piece of your mind, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Fucking
By
hell.
all accounts, when you talk to him,
and
he's a
Jerry
nice fella.
Bourne, you probably know Jerry. He works in the council, little small fella. He's in charge of the flats there, the old folks at Neilstown. Look, you went down there with that bollocks. Yeah. Shaking hands and rubbing shoulders with that bollocks.
That's how you get a reputation,
The
John.
enemy.
John, we'll move on to the final part of the show, which is just a couple of social media questions that we got in, if that's okay with you.
No bother.
Do you think the situation has gotten worse regarding mental health in the last 5 years?
Yes.
Yeah. Now, would you put that just down to the C word, or
I'd put
obviously a lot of it is down to that?
Yeah,
like, let's face facts.
massive
Yeah.
problems mentally for people that are taking coke.
Yeah, I was actually
I
talking.
know.
about
No.
I'm
I'm
trying not to say it, because then we're going to get flagged on it.
No, I'm going to. But unfortunately, it does.
Yeah,
Drugs does affect your mental health,
100%.
and then we have COVID on top of it.
Yeah.
So you've the two C's, where
Two
people
cunts.
where people can't and haven't been mixing. Like Jesus, I'd love to sit and have a pint. I haven't been. My last day having a pint was the FAI Cup final. Go on the Pats.
We hope that Pats.
And
You were the one that started the murder out in Rings End, was it?
was, yeah. I put the bally on, and I had a point before the game in Finches, and then we stopped off in Clarkson Rings End, and I had 2 points, and then went back to Finches, and I had 2 points after it, and it was just nice to stand with the lads
Yeah.
and have a bleeding gargle
Yeah.
and talk football. But
Look at what the kids are going through, John. Fuck us. We're used to doing it. Yeah, we miss it, but they're not. Like, they're not even getting to experience in the confirmation communion that
No.
Debs, like that Debs, everyone's Debs was such a big deal, and they're missing out.
No, I
on
never
all
had
that,
one.
you know. No,
no, but I'm from an era when you didn't do Debs.
Jail bring
Yeah,
on his.
You probably got a dowry though.
I did it in my hole.
But yeah, so you think
Couldn't wait. I've Mrs. Quinn, your son's not coming back in September, is he? No.
what's John's take on social media? Do you think that has a positive impact or negative impact?
It depends on if you people that believe everything that's on social media, well, then it's a problem.
Yeah.
But, let's be honest, people don't put up pictures of themselves not looking good.
Yeah.
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 So you've got to take it. Look, it has most certainly helped people. It has helped people get in touch with me that didn't have my phone number. And then there will be people out there that, people out there that just can't abide by it and think it's absolute pony. But each to their own. If you find that social media is affecting you,
Get off.
well, then get off it.
Yeah.
Fair point. Next question, John. What advice would you give someone going through the loss of a child? We already covered that on the show, so we won't get into that again. Would you be recognised much, John? So I'm assuming that's like from the light to Secret Millionaire, and because
Yeah.
of all the interviews and speaking you've done around it.
I suppose I haven't done an interview in a while, but I suppose, yeah, you know,
Yeah,
it's-
definitely Clondalkin famous. That's
Oh,
for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, well, that goes with
yeah.
it.
Like I remember coming up Cork Street one night, and I was sitting at the traffic lights, and 2 car pulls up beside me, and it was an unmarked car, and the copper put down your window, and he goes, "Well done on the show."
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I'm looking, I said, there would be people that notice you, and then there's other people don't. Clondalkin, definitely.
Yeah, yeah.
That
yeah.
guard who seen you, John, thought he was talking to Liam Brady.
Yeah, I know, yeah. Are you saying I'm as fat as Liam Brady?
Saying you're as famous as him.
Was he as famous as us in Finglas last week, though? That's the thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So John walked in. As soon as he walked in, he wanted a picture with us, didn't you, John?
Oh yeah, so Jesus, I said, come on, I have to have this on my social media. I was the skinny lad in the middle, by the way.
Yeah, that's not actually far off.
Yeah.
Pretty accurate.
Martin might say different, but any mad taxi stories, John? We all know that taxi men have fucking mental stories. So, like, anything happening in the back of your car while you're driving?
Fella asked me, could he lie on the floor?
Why? Just sweating.
No.
Oh, right.
Fella asked me, could he lie on the floor?
For you to get in the back with him, or for whoever
No,
was in the
he
back
wanted
with
to
him?
lie on the floor on his own.
I'm trying to figure out where this is going here.
Right. Hold on a minute. On his own.
Yeah.
Right.
Picked him up at a house. Gave me the address to bring him to, and he goes, "Be all right if I lie on the floor." I looked at him and goes, "Are you for real, pal?" He goes, "Yeah." Now my windows were tinted,
Right. He was hiding.
and he goes,
Elvis banger, I'd say.
"No, it's just there's a figure on me."
Jesus.
Oh,
Get away from me car.
He's in the car and all at that stage. I fucking
Yeah.
couldn't get there quick enough to get out. The fuck? Yeah, look, there's mad. Look, I've picked up people. You know, where am I?
Yeah.
The next,
yeah.
you know, on a Sunday morning, you couldn't tell me where am I. Yeah, looking what?
We've all been there.
Yeah, no, but genuinely didn't know where they were.
Yeah.
Had me
Fuck.
bogged
But like
right.
them stories on top of the obviously the other stories that people know you of, like I'd say you have some unbelievable stories. Like I'd say it's incredible.
And on that one, if you're picking them up first thing in the morning, they must be local to you. They're nowhere good.
yeah.
No.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Like, how often is there, like, what time you on till? Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Been busy.
busy,
Do you know what I
yeah.
mean?
All right, buddy, you busy?
They're the icebreakers.
You
You
having
need
a
them.
busy night? Yeah, yeah.
What advice would you give to the local guy getting in a taxi to start the conversation with a taxi man?
Yeah.
Other than, are you busy?
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, it's a cracker.
Genuine.
This is like a Kevin Hart special where he's at that bringing a full circle now back to fucking
hell
hell
yeah. Yeah, do you know, it's just, but you know, we all know what people are. They're just, you know what, people are just trying to make conversation. You're
That's it,
having a
yeah.
busy night, lad. You know, fuck no, I wish I was.
Yeah.
You know, it's
It's an icebreaker.
yeah, and that's all it is. Like, and like, I'd be easy. Look, along am I here an hour and a bit, and I haven't.
And the rest.
Yeah, and I haven't shut up like.
2 hours we had.
I
you
was
there.
actually thinking the very same.
Yeah, and I haven't shut up like, but you know, and people say to me all the time, Jesus, you know,
This is why we brought you on, John.
you never,
Yeah.
do you ever? Of course, then they're saying you don't need a phone. You don't need a phone. Everybody can hear you.
Yeah.
You're a noisy bastard.
That's what you rang me when you were outside saying, I think I'm outside. I
can
could hear
hear
you outside. John, do you have anything going at the minute that you want to speak about or want to promote? Or like, have you got anything on the cards for 2022 that you want people to know about?
Yeah, I'm involved with Clondalkin Equine Club.
Okay.
It's a local-based equine club on Lananga Road.
For people that don't know what Equine Club is, John.
Oh, right, it's where local kids.
Horses, Jay. You mean horses?
Yeah, but not everyone knows.
Right, it's where local.
Jay didn't know.
Right, a couple,
Jay,
I did know because we spoke about it already.
he's right. It could be donkeys
Yeah. You know, a couple
or
of pigs.
asses.
Yeah, mule.
Where local kids have their own horse in a stable,
Right.
and we're the only one in the country where where somebody can have their own horse. And if there's any prominent businessmen out there or women that want to give us a few bob, the manager's name is Rachel Marr, and we're on Clondalkin Equine Club on the Fonthill Road.
And you're struggling for
What's-
funding now, John.
What's the address, John? You said Nanga first, then you said Fonthill.
Sorry, you did, didn't I say Langer? Yeah, Fonthill Road, sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
Um,
Just want that check to get to the right
yeah,
place.
yeah, so we're
Did you-
struggling. You know, it's a building and ground that was built between the Department of Agriculture and South Dublin County Council.
Right.
And it was built, and then they said, right. But, you know, most clubs can get funding somewhere. But because of an Equine club, you don't get funding.
Right.
So I can't really say much more about it.
Yeah. Well, you just need to dig out anyway. We'll
Yeah.
We'll put some details in the description, and we'll bang a post or two up on social media for you, John. See if we can help in any way, shape, or form.
Every little helps.
Absolutely.
Have you any fundraisers or anything coming up? Or
No,
anything, John?
there's nowhere to. You can't run a fundraiser because the pubs are closed.
Yeah.
Next question, John. Does hearing other people's stories ever bring up your own story back and make you feel upset? Like, I'm assuming that, like, obviously people saying that they feel this way, it must resonate with you and think.
It would be very, very seldom when I'm talking to somebody I would allow myself to become emotional.
Because you feel selfish, probably.
Yeah. You can't, when you're talking to somebody or trying to help somebody,
Yeah.
you can't have
It's not
tears in
about
your
you.
eyes.
How do you
Yeah.
channel that though? How do you block that out?
You switch off. You just,
Again, like
I
it's
don't know.
just-
you switch
Practice,
how
I'd
do you
say,
do
John.
that?
Practice.
Yeah, like
I've only ever felt, in all the people I've taught, I'd say I've only ever felt emotional a handful of times.
And would that be because you knew that person better, or their story was
No, I
close
knew
to
them.
home? Or
Knew them. I don't know how you switch. I don't know. You can be emotional when you're finished dealing with them, which I do. I normally go, geez, your fucking head does be like
Yeah.
melted.
Yeah.
But
It's nearly a necessity for them to be able to feel better.
yeah,
Like, if you're crying, it's nearly like, right, I'm
well,
just.
if they're coming to you,
And he's about
and
upset
they're-
together.
yeah, and they're literally very, very close to taking their life, you can't be sitting there bawling your bleeding eyes out with them
No.
because they want help.
Yeah.
And I don't mean this for people listening. You can't just bawl your eyes out when people are coming to you for help. If you were to go
Yeah.
to a professional counsellor, and I'm not a counsellor, I'm a taxi driver. You can't sit
Professional
there crying.
taxi driver.
Yeah. Well, all taxi drivers are
When you get in
professional.
John's taxi, there's a €3 VIP rate, isn't it?
Definitely.
And one of we touched on a little bit already. So suicide rates are through the roof at the minute. But why does it seem that, like, all the media outlets are making it seem otherwise? Like, they're trying to say that they're not, after getting astronomically higher when they
But
actually
we don't
are.
know that they are.
Do we not? Are the
Man,
figures?
no, the
No.
figures are not out yet.
Right.
Figures for last year aren't even out yet.
Okay.
I dare say they are high.
Right. Yeah.
But they're high. They're high every year. Where we have on average 520 suicides a year.
Right. Fucking hell. That's a lot, isn't it?
But it always feels like it's around that.
Yeah.
500 and how many, John?
In and around 520, and you're right. It is always in and around that.
10 a
figure.
week.
Yeah. Now that's not counting single vehicle car crashes that a car
Yeah.
just crashes
into
into
a
a
wall.
tree or
Yeah.
a wall at 100 miles an hour.
That's what Tyson Fury wanted to do.
You cannot.
Yeah.
You can't.
Past that as suicide.
That's not suicide.
Mm.
If someone dies and it doesn't look like suicide,
It's not past the suicide.
What about an
It's-
overdose? Say,
deliberate overdose.
yeah,
Well, you can't say it's suicide, can you?
no.
Unless there's a note there.
Fair point. So John, when do you know when these get released?
No. When
No.
the statistics office released them.
CSO, so they look after that and then they
Yeah,
release
they
the
look
figures
after
yearly.
all that. Yeah, they do.
Right.
But if
But you
like,
say
if
last year's figures aren't even out yet.
no, they wouldn't be. I wouldn't think to be out yet.
Right.
Google it there. I wouldn't think so.
Right. Okay.
Like, and God knows, like if somebody dies from suicide, and the autopsy's done, it's put suicides on the death cert.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if you present yourself to any of the hospitals with self-harm.
Yeah.
That's also put through as well.
Right. And that's all the questions, I think. Let me just quickly run through to make sure we have everything
The
sorted
Instagram,
here.
was it?
Yeah.
John Connor Miley's just reached out as well while Jay's doing that. John Quinn is a gentleman, an example for others to follow, and a treasure to the community.
Cheers, Connor.
Very nice words,
Thanks,
Connor.
Miley. And Ross McDonald texted in earlier saying, sorry lads, running a bit late, but saves my family, local hero. So some
All right,
nice
Ross,
words for you, John.
nice one, buddy.
I only seen Ross today
Um,
in Coffee and Kale.
Yep. Diving for his
Yeah.
coffee.
yeah, so
Ross Hollywood.
Yeah.
that was basically all the Instagram questions, Sean. But what I do want to touch on was, did you hear about Aisling Murphy? I'm sure you have heard.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on all this? What's your take on that? I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'm a bit ashamed of myself for not understanding the seriousness of girls fearing men. Like what, like little stupid things. Like I was only saying to the lads before the show started, like I was saying, like I cross the road sometimes when there's a group of lads just to avoid any confrontation. However, I'm a man and they're men. You never see. Martin said a great point as well. You never see a group of girls. You're never going to be intimidated because we're men.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It's funny. I only said this to my eldest fella Vincent last night, and he goes, "Girls are intimidated." He says, "Now he's two girls. The eldest is Lucy." He says, "I wouldn't allow Lucy out on her own in the evening time, but it shouldn't be like that."
No.
I said, "But like you," I said, "I've often seen a gang of lads, and I'd cross the road."
Mm.
He said, "Yeah, but you're a bloke. Girls will do that all the time.
Mm.
See that?
They're living in that type of fear."
But not only.
And I suppose I never had, look, until I had granddaughters, we'd know
Yeah,
girls.
girls, yeah,
we'd
yeah.
just boys. And I suppose what happened, look, I suppose it's the best way of saying it really is, and it has caught on. She went for a run.
Mm.
That's the slogan, yeah. It was,
You know, she went for a run, and look, I hope they get him.
Mm.
And if it is the chap that's in hospital, and
But see,
he's in hospital for a reason, I hope to. I'd have. Some people might say, "Jesus, let him recover and go through the judicial system." I
I don't
hope.
believe that.
No, you see,
If
if
you
he
take your
died
life-
if he died up in that hospital,
be too good for him.
Yeah.
I'd have, you know, and
he
I
died
feel-
too comfortably.
Put him
Yeah.
in Mountjoy and
And
let them have at him.
I feel sorry for the staff because like he's under guard of surveillance, whoever it is.
Mm.
And
But that's
the
if
staff,
it is.
the staff. That's if it is him.
Yeah.
And you know, I feel sorry for the staff that have to.
Try and save his life.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
fuck
must
him.
be.
Yeah.
Like as you said there, Martin, let him go into Joy. The chances are he might not go to Joy.
Yeah, Arbor Hill or
He
something.
could go into Arbor Hill with all the other
Mm.
It's-
non-sociables.
It's such a problem, and especially like Jay, you put out a post the other day. You were basically saying like, you know, raise your sons better and all, you know, and I fully agree with that as well.
Mm.
But I also do think at the same time, in some cases, not all cases, but some cases, it's just out of the parents' hands where some people are just have that nastiness in them, you know. And the fact that we're in a day and age where women have to wear headphones with the volume down just so they can be aware of what's around them, or like even have to walk across the road or something like that. Intimidation shouldn't exist. You know, it's not fair that like I can do that. I can walk past a gang of people and not give a shit with my music fully up. Like that shouldn't.
I know.
What the fuck world are we living in? Like that this is like this. Like it's such a subject where like I'm so angry over it because I've seen a video of the kids in the school. Obviously, Aisling was a teacher, and all the kids done cards and we love you and we'll miss you and all. And like those kids should never have to go to school to do rest in peace messages to their teacher. They're there to learn subjects and to, you know, it's their education. That will stay with them now for the rest of their lives, that their teacher was brutally murdered. And you shouldn't have to learn that in first class. My daughter's in first class. How would I ever be able to explain that to a 6 or 7 year old? I wouldn't. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, like that will stay with them. Obviously, it's with the parents as well. But like, so many people are going to be affected in this, and yet women every single day now are going to have to like live in some level of fear, and it's just not right.
Like,
I can't get my head around it, man.
To speak to that level of fear you were saying, Jay, imagine how scared every single woman on this island was Thursday morning. Getting up to go to work in the morning, getting on a bus, going to college, going to the shops, going to the gym, leaving the house on their own is becoming unsafe. And the best we could do as society is tell them to carry a fucking key between their fingers, don't listen to your headphones. Like, it's just not good enough. Do you know what I mean? You just need to do better as a society. Like, the fact that half of us can't walk down the road and listen to music because they're afraid the other half is going to attack them is fucking batshit crazy. Like it's so ingrained into them now. Ask any of the women in your life, they'll all tell you a story where you're walking down the road, you had the keys between their fingers, they had to take one headphone out. All these stupid little tips that we have to give them that will, like, that we just need to do better. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and sorry, just one last thing.
Yeah, no, further away, Jay.
And I do think that it has to stop. Like, if you're a man and you're being offended that people are saying it's always men, that needs, like, that's the biggest load of bullshit ever.
That's just gobshite saying that, though.
It's okay, like, in a sense that, like, if you feel a type of way about that statement, okay, if you feel like you're offended by people saying it's always men, it's not fucking you. It's just the fact that it's
always men.
Do you know what I mean? We can't, like, break it down any easier for you. That has to, like, be done with. Except the fact that it is always men that do these things. It's very fucking rare you hear of a woman going and stabbing, like.
Most of the violence that's carried, the major violence that's carried out in this country, and probably the world,
it's men.
Statistically, it's men. Yeah,
it's men.
Yeah,
and like the fear that, like, the guy that they had in originally as a suspect, and I think it came out
wasn't he?
On late Friday. Was it Friday night it came out, or late Thursday night? It came out at 11 o'clock. So people wouldn't have heard that until maybe they're on their way into work. But they'd have got up and went to bed that night, particularly women, saying, Jesus, at least they have him.
Yeah.
And then they waking up the next morning bright and early,
He's still out
and
there.
it's out. He's released, and he is no longer in custody, and he's no longer a suspect. So women are then saying to themselves, Jesus, there's still a murderer out there.
Yeah.
And as well as that, like, it's not just the fact that it happened to Aisling Murphy. Like, you go back to 2019, you had Nadine Lott that we were talking about before, beaten to the point she was unrecognisable.
Yeah.
You had that Mongolian lady coming home from work at 9:30 to FSC, stabbed in the neck, dead. You had Alana Quinn Idris in Ballyfermot 2 weeks ago, eye socket broken, teeth broken, can never see again. All she did was get off a bus and was followed, and 2 fellas hopped on it.
Scumbags.
Got released for €200 bail the next day. So, like, they're walking around the community where she lives, where she's trying to rebuild her life, and they're just pottering around, no problem.
Exactly.
And then that happened the week or two before what happened to Aisling Murphy. And you have to look at it like a €200 fine. What's the deterrent? Why would they stop? It's systemic. Like, women are being let down by the structures put in place, the judicial system. If you look at 2021, the guards Drew Harris had to come out and apologise because they dropped 3,000 domestic violence calls. So 3,000 women walked up the courage when their husband was punching the head off them to find a bit of space and get the phone out and rang, and the coppers just hung up on it because they didn't fancy taking the call. Like, they're being let down from the top all the way down throughout the history of the island. Look at the mother and baby homes when the churches were involved. They've been second-class citizens from the inception of a Republic of Ireland.
Like, it even goes back to, like, little things. Like, I remember being younger and me dad even saying to me sisters, like, be careful now, let me know. Like, he'd never say that to me.
No.
Do you know what I mean? And that's a perfect, like, how, like, I really do feel shame that we're only really noticing this now. Why did it
have to take someone's life?
It's awful that it took a
But you know
barbaric
what?
thing like what happened to Aisling Murphy to make people realise that it's not fucking okay. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. And look, Jay, on that comment that you said, I really do think that's a strong part of it, you know? Like, we raise our sons about.
Oh no, I agree.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah.
I rang a colleague on Friday. I was telling you because, like, I was reading about this because I seen you posting that we're going to talk about. So I wanted to just get the woman's perspective, and she made a great point, Suzanne, if you're listening. She said, do you not think people are trying to raise their kids to do the right thing? Like, do you not think every mother sits down with their son and tells them all this stuff? Like, do you not think we're raising our kids? Like as I said to you, like, I don't understand how them 2 lads in Balliol, I don't know how their parents are sitting down and having breakfast with them the next morning. Like, do you not think in their heads they tried the best? Something else happened, like something else corrupted these people into doing something like that.
I think it's also, like, your environment as well. But
It's
look,
a
at the end
nature
of the day,
nurture debate.
We're
you know
not
what I mean?
here to
Yeah,
make
it
excuses
is,
for
man, you're right.
why people do what they do. there is no excuse at the best of times. There's no excuse for taking a life. There's no excuse for punching a woman for getting off a bus, maybe because of our ethnicity or anything like that. You know what I mean? There isn't. You know, some people just have it like are rotten to the core.
Yeah,
have
but
that level of nastiness in them.
It's
Do
that
I
saying, like,
see
do you
your
not think we
point.
need to raise the
Well, there is
kids? Like, we're
nastiness
trying to
in
raise the
people.
kids. Something has happened
is,
along the
there is
line
definitely.
Yeah.
that has taken them away from that nurturing family unit and
Yeah.
turned them into a little monster.
Yeah, no, I agree
You
with
know,
that.
not everybody is nice, or not
Yeah.
everybody is right.
Yeah.
There are people out there that really just don't give a shite, like. And as you said, there's nastiness, there's badness in them.
And like you mentioned earlier, John, cocaine and stuff doesn't help, you know what I mean? These are things that lead to these situations getting worse. Like, how many times have you heard young women say, or even people around the area, lads, oh, he got battered by, or he battered her last night, he was out of his face or whatever, do you know what I mean?
And this is the thing, like,
Yeah.
everyone has heard
This is
these
what I'm saying,
stories and
yeah,
it snowballs into situations like what you've heard now. So it's cutting it out at the root. Like, stop talking to your mates if they're doing that stuff. Let them
Yeah.
know it's not right. Do you know what I mean?
Not name and shame them, but make sure you
Confront
fucking
them.
allow, like, you say to them, it's not fucking okay.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
100%.
It's shame on us if we're not doing that, lads.
Yeah.
That's how you make the difference.
And that's it. That's the little difference that we could make. Like I said, it's not every fella. No, we're not doing it. But if you know
Yeah.
someone who you think is, then fucking say it to them. Grow up here. Do you
Call
know
them
what I mean?
out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
Hold them accountable.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, on that, I think we're done, lads. I think that was a very good episode. John, thanks very much for coming. It was an absolute pleasure as always. Again, like I said, you've no idea the amount of messages I got. I can't go through them all, John, with the admiration and respect people have for you. And from me to you as well, like, I really do appreciate everything you're doing, and you really are holding Sean's flag high, and everything you do has that stemming from him, and I'm sure that he'd be so proud of everything that you're doing.
You told me earlier he was.
There you go.
I'm joking. You know,
But some people are spiritual. I'm not gonna say no, he didn't. You know.
I just had to look at your face when I said it. He goes,
There's the case earlier when he was talking about how he had the phone, he was going to ring off Sean's phone.
I'll just kind of finish on one thing.
Yeah, fire away.
An awful lot of people say somebody committed suicide.
Mm.
People don't commit suicide. They take their lives.
Mm.
We're trying to get away from the word commit, because going back, Jesus, before you boys were born, if you tried to take your life, you got committed into the asylum,
Right.
and you also committed a sin.
Mm.
Yeah.
And if you did take your life, you committed a mortal sin, which is no longer that. It all depends on whether you're religious or not.
Yeah,
So-
yeah.
Instead of saying, if you know anybody out there and you're talking about it, don't say, oh, they committed suicide. They died by suicide.
Okay.
It just sounds nicer.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Jay, any final words, mate?
No, look, just appreciate everything that you do. Like Jay said earlier, like, we've all had conversations with you in the past and all, like, and you've helped me, you've helped Jay, Martin, I'm sure, as well. Like, and
I grew up with
you know,
Becco
like,
and
no,
Lisa
like,
and you.
yeah,
about
I know Martin since he was
The
8,
pub.
7 or
since he
8.
was
yeah, no, but
You
honestly,
wasn't over
he wasn't
football
long
underneath
out
there,
on
watch.
And now him since he's a little black boiler.
Yeah.
no, but John, honest to God, look, I just appreciate everything you do, and fair play to you. Like, you deserve all the praise that you do get. You know, sometimes people just don't like taking the praise, but in this case, I think you should. You know what I mean? You've earned it all.
Definitely.
Fair play to you, and thanks very much for coming on and sharing your stories with us.
Thanks very much indeed, lads.
Yeah,
Much
Martin?
appreciate it.
just appreciate your time, John. You're obviously a very, very busy man and very highly thought of, and we really appreciate you taking the time to come and see us. And I can't wait for the day we're in Finches and I hear the yip, yip, yip over my shoulder again. I can't wait, John.
Just before
I should have
we
wore the cowboy hat down, shouldn't I?
just before we finish, I just want to say a thanks to everyone in the community that does a bit of work. Obviously, I had Susan Doyle on the podcast previously,
Yeah.
John, and I love everything she does. I think she's
super.
yeah. So yourself, Susan, everyone else that I'm not even aware of.
Like
that
Susan does
work.
that in Robert's Howie, as I would have called him.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
Howie's name.
Exactly.
Yeah.
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 So look, we take the positives in all the situation, and you're all doing amazing things, and not just from me, from a lot of people that are from Clondalkin that are listening. Again, thanks very much, John. And if you need anything from us in the future, let us know. On that note, folks, thanks for watching. Make sure to tune in next week